All right, class, let's open up to Esther. Man, nap time. Really, guys? Isn't Esther some sort of like biblical soap opera? Boring. Sure, it's like a soap opera if Disney produced it, George R.R. Martin wrote the screenplay, and it was narrated by Luis from Ant-Man. All right, I'm intrigued. Show me. All right, check it out. So there's this Persian king, Ahasuerus. He might be like a laughing dinosaur or something, I don't know, but he's got a pretty white Vashti. And he wants to show her off to his royal buddies. And he's like, hey girl, pull up. And she's like, nah, I ain't about that life. And Donald King crashes out. He says, I'm gonna give me a new huzz. So he sets up a beauty contest and he's like, hate your hair, not likely. Yikes, yikes, yikes. But then he sees this Jewish baddie, Esther, and he's like, I'm down bad. And she's like, bet. And all the Jews are like, yes, queen. But Ahasuerus doesn't know she's Jewish, and you gotta remember that because it might be important later. So Esther's cousin, who is her adopted dad now because her real parents are dead, but anyway, his name is Mordecai, which sounds like it might be a bad guy from like an 80s dark fantasy movie, but he's a good guy. And he hears about a side quest to unalive the king. And he's like, Esther, spill the tea to your bae. And they foil the plot, so that's good. But the king has this advisor, Haman, and he's sus. Mordecai refuses to bow to Haman, and Haman says, I'm pressed. And he tricks the king into signing a law that makes it legal to kill all the Jews in Persia. But Esther gets wise about the plot, and she's like, no, you. So she goes to the king's court, which is sketch because she wasn't on the guest list, and if she shows up, it's like insta-kill. But remember how she's like a face card? So the king's like, valid. And she says to the king, hey boo, I'm a Jew. And now the king is high-key stressed and depressed because of the law he signed. And Esther dimes out Haman for tricking the king, and Haman's like, I'm cooked. And so they hang him, and all the Jews are saved, except they're not because Donald King's like, the law says. And in Persia, not even the king can control the law. He's low-key tweaking. But Esther is big brain, and she tells the king to make a law allowing the Jews to throw hands, and the enemies of the Jews get wrecked. And then since Haman is deceased, Mordecai gets his old spot, and everyone is thriving because Esther is the GOAT. Esther rocks. I wish I had an Esther in my life.